MTV reality show that you're starting to move forward on. Can you?
Weird. Wouldn't it be Pauly Shore 20 years later going back to MTV?
I don't think it would be so much weird as interesting to see where you're at and what you're doing. And from what I understand, it's a mix of reality and made-up sitcom, right?
No, it's more reality. It's a reality show about a family that most people that know who I am don't know that I have. Do you understand? Like, they know that, or people that know anything about me, they'll know, oh, he grew up at the Comedy Store. His mom's Mitzi, and he's got some brothers, and if anyone that knows, but a lot of people don't know that I have this other kind of family that's brewing on the side. So it's a reality show about that family.
So, because you married.
It's like K plus 8.
Well, you went back and you got back together with a Playboy Playmate that you had dated back in the day, and your kids merged. Right?
Yeah, she's got a couple kids, and I have a couple kids that have been living with my dad in Vegas for a while. So I'm kind of like trying to make up for lost time. Like a broken down piece of wheeze. Like we're gonna live together in a like a modest house in the valley. I'm gonna do fatherly things. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna rub. You know what I mean?
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, I know you get away. I talked about with that. You get away with touching some of the kids in Adopted, when a lot of adult men wouldn't get away with that. We talked about that, and it makes sense. But I gotta say, taking on kids at this point in your life, when you haven't seen them for a while, is hard enough. But when you have kids that are out living in Las Vegas, that's got to be 3 times as tough as kids that have grown up in Los Angeles.
They're set in their ways, and like I'm gonna be telling them to do shit, and they're gonna be like, yeah, screw you, Dad. Okay, you do shit. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be a little bit role reversal. I mean, my one kid's 15, my other kid's 17. So.
Even though it's a reality show, were you at all inspired by the Brady Bunch? Because it almost has that kind of vibe, and it brings.
Yeah. It's almost like that show Modern Family. It's almost like, people I think in life are just they're not that kind of like structured normal family. Love is love, and people are people, and it's not like it has to be like, oh, my 4 kids and we grew up together. It's just like it's all about. It's almost like its own polygamous camp. You know what I mean? Without the other stuff, without the Betty Crocker and the stew and stuff.
You were talking about going back to MTV after you'd been gone from there for a long time.
Bro,
yeah, they go.
Hey, bro. Sorry.
Does that get hard?
What?
Did people come up and expect that out of you? I mean, is that tiring? Does that zap your energy when you have to do that sometimes?
But you know what? You got to get back to the public, bro. You got to keep giving. I'm a politician. You know what I'm saying?
I want to know about
Obamacare, Obamacare. This is my little cubby. Welcome to my little cubby.
I kind of like it in here. It's like hiding in like an old tin or something.
Little weasel hole.
Well, I want to know about your relationship with MTV at this point. Did you leave there on good terms, and are you on good terms with them now? Obviously, that you have a show coming back.
Conan O'Brien leaving NBC. You know what I mean? We're not on good terms. You know what I mean? No, I'm just kidding. That was fucked up, huh? When the whole Conan thing, yeah.
That last show? That was heartbreaking.
That was tough. But no, the people at MTV they're my friends. They've been my friends for a long time. What's interesting is the president of MTV is this guy named Tony DeSanto, who's a really good friend of mine, and he used to be my assistant on my show at MTV when I had Totally Pauly. And the guy's been there like 15, 20 years.
So he was happy to have you come back and do this.
Well, he's not one of those guys. He's one of those guys that if he thinks the project is good and funny and interesting, he'll want to greenlight it, whether it's with me or not. But then you get the whole thing, the cherry on the cake, like, oh, and it's Pauly, like he's coming back too, I mean? But I think the concept, it's really, the show's really about the 4 kids. If you watch The Osbournes or you watch Run's House, it was really about the kids and what kids go through, the pregnancy thing, the drugs, drinking and driving and, getting a fight at school. Like, I'm going to have to deal with all that.
I was going to say, you have a very famous mom, and we all know about your mom, but the interesting thing about Adopted is that we see you have a brother. I'm not sure if that's really your brother, if that's an actor, first of all. I was assuming it's your real brother.
No, it's not.
It's not?
No.
So you don't have a brother?
Yeah, I got a couple brothers.
Well, because I was wondering, you have this...
I like to confuse people.
Well, it's confusing to me, but now you have the show coming, and I'm wondering, are you more open to showing exactly what's going on in your life now and introducing them to other members of your family? I mean, are you more comfortable with that at this point?
The deal is that my brothers and I, we don't get along. You know what I mean? We don't get along, and my parents are getting older, so I don't have, I haven't had a wife, or I haven't had any type of relationship, so I've kind of recently kind of hit bottom in my life with coming home alone. You know what I mean? So this new family is going to be, there's a lot of people that don't get along with their families. You know what I mean? So what do? They start their own family. So that's kind of what I've done. I've started my own family. Well, like, I don't need this family. I can start my own family.
Well, that's what I'm wondering about. But you're bringing it into people's homes, so that obviously means you're more comfortable sharing sort of more of a personal side of you.
Yeah.
Was that hard for you back in the day? Because, I mean, when I knew you and grew up on your movies, you were this guy, this, like, legendary guy who was, like, The Bachelor, and you didn't have all of that, but at the same time, you were a little bit more guarded than we know, and then we see stuff that we didn't know was going on back then. That's, I guess, the point of my show.
Yeah, exactly. But you're saying the old stuff was more like about my persona and kind of keeping people away like that, and now it's more, Well, it's like I'm scraping off I have been, and it's not something I did intentionally. It's not like, it's not like Pee Wee Herman where I'm like, take off this thing and I'm this guy. It's just like, it's a subliminal, it's a subliminal thing. Like every year, I think we just get older and kind of more real. Do you know what I mean? I think, as people, we just kind of start dropping the image.
When it's one of those...
But that's the thing. It's like, when you're 20, though, in your 20s, like, you're supposed to have, like, an image, like, where you think you're a certain way. You know what I mean?
But I think it's working for you because, I mean, from what I see, people are coming out in droves to your shows, your live shows, and all of a sudden you're getting this big following again when you kind of dropped off a little bit and you'd made these movies, which both of them I genuinely enjoy. I think what you're doing as far as the reality, sort of mix that faux documentary with Adopted is really cool. I mean, are you excited that more and more people are coming back to you and it seems like you're going back towards something that's substantial and entertaining?
Yeah, it's like after my last, I think it was my last, it was like I did all these films, and then eventually it petered like an old car. You know what I mean? Like it just petered. It's like boom, 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 and it was like I was a dead car on the side of the road, which wasn't bad because that's really what happens to probably, I'd say, 99.9% of the people in the business that become at a certain level. But what I did is that I took the situation that I was in and I made fun of it. Do you understand? And I didn't wind up a drug addict. I didn't wind up on a surreal life. I didn't wind up a victim. You know what I mean? There was a lot of that kind of going on of not being wanted, and because I love to work, and when you're not working every year, I got a little sad. I got depressed. And that's when I did Pauly Shore is Dead, which was, to me, kind of the second part of my career, which was kind of making fun of the situation that I was in, because I was so sick of people coming up to me going, when are you going to do another movie? And it's like, motherfucker, my last movies ate shit. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to be doing another movie,
Jury Duty, the last one in that group?
No, Biodome.
Biodome was the last one. See, Biodome has a following.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. It was Jury Duty that I remember that the critics attacked the hardest. But if you go back and look at that, some of the parts of that movie are kind of brilliant. When you go back and look at like 12 Angry Men or just watch that John Cusack movie, it has some pretty substantial stuff.
Well, that's the thing about my films is and if you notice now, you talk about the resurgence. It's not so much about the resurgence about the films that I've been doing, which are my indie films. But it's mostly also about the fact that my movies play now more than they did before. So, Son-in-Law, Encino Man, Biodome, In the Arm, all these films that I did, they hold up. So if you look back, you say, you know what, maybe those films weren't that bad, and maybe I was just dissing them because it was the cool thing to do at the time. Because CMT wouldn't constantly play Son-in-Law if the ratings were in the toilet. Yeah. Do you understand? It's the highest rated show ever on CMT. Rated film.
The Army was just on, but I don't know if it was on CMT.
Yeah. So the movies that I did, looking back on it, yes, some were better than the other, but they weren't pieces of shit, and I think that's kind of,
people are discovering now.
Yeah,
A lot of people didn't watch the movies; they just heard the critics, and you can't ever trust a critic.
Right.
And then they catch the movie, and it's awesome.
and they're not that
Well,
bad.
Well, I ask one last question. I truly do, and I enjoyed Adopted. I thought it was a great movie. I'm not just telling you that because you're sitting here. I enjoy these movies, and I want to know, where are you going to go from here?
Adopted, new DVD out at Walmart. I used to go straight to the films, now to theaters. Now I go straight to motherfucking Walmart. So you can get a rake, you can buy your son a tricycle, get some horse manure, and get Pauly Shore's Adopted at Walmart. You got to get it. It's on shelves.
Actually, better, because going to the movie sucks right now.
Yeah, it does. So let me tell you about my next venture.
That's what I want to know about.
Yeah, the next venture. No, the next venture's, I think. Can I burp really quick?
Go for it. Do you want me to do it?
Excuse me. The next venture,
Whoa.
I think, is going to top everything that I've ever done.
Are you going to tell me what it is?
I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm not an idiot. I'm not a loser. I'm not some guy who's like, oh, this is going to be great. Because when I tell you it, you're going to be, holy shit, that's going to be fucking hot.
Yeah, I'm ready to hear this.
So, Pauly Shore is known for a certain genre of comedy, and most recently, he's doing stuff that's a little bit more deeper and better and blah, blah, blah. But he's still known for comedy. Now, a lot of people don't know, before I started doing comedy, like movies and stand-up and MTV, I just did dramatic stuff. Do you understand? I just did stuff that was serious. But you think of Pauly Shore, you'd never think of anything serious. So I came up with a script and a concept that's written, and it's pretty much ready to go. It's called Slut Killer, right? And it's a thriller. It's like and it's not like a horror film. It's going to be like in the tone of like a Fatal Attraction, where I play a slut vigilante. It's a slut killer. It's about a guy that's a trust fund baby in Vegas, and he basically kills. He's a serial killer. He kills women that come to Vegas that cheat on their husbands. You know what I mean? Because these women, they're like, oh, it's Vegas, fuck it. Like, not to this guy, because these women, in his eyes, are ruining the fabric of America, of the American families. Do you understand? Because when he was a child, his mom died, and his father remarried like an Anna Nicole Smith type that basically devastated his father, who is very rich. So the first slut that he kills is his stepmom. So it's basically, he goes off on basically, it's almost like Dexter a little bit, where he kills the people that you want him to kill. And then, and it's like a dark, it's like a dark,
serious.
yeah, it's straight serious.
Right now, you're not fucking with
Yeah,
me.
no, I'm being serious.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be Pauly Shore is the slut killer. Whatever happens in Vegas slays in Vegas. Yeah, and you're gonna absolutely not. No, his name's what the fuck's his name? Wayne Evans. You know what I mean? The opening scene, he's killing a girl. It's like if you watch Dexter and he's got the bitch in the fucking shed and she's tied up. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm looking for a director right now, because I don't want to direct it. I want to get a director in there that brings like a really darkness to it, and and it's very simple. It's going to be a very low budget, but high concept. That's what I like to do. I like to do low budget, high concept films, and do something totally different. You know what I mean? So yeah, so Slut Killer.